Hello, my name is Leonard Hiebert, the Chair of the Board of the Peace River Regional District. Welcome to our second quarterly update of 2025. As we move through the summer months here in the Peace, I'm excited to share significant milestones we've achieved and important updates on the work we're doing at the Peace River Regional District, from completed strategic plans to new housing announcements and ongoing preparedness efforts. There is substantial progress to share. These quarterly updates continue to be one of our key ways of keeping you informed about the decisions and projects that directly affect you and your communities. Let's jump into what we've accomplished and what's ahead.
Welcome to the second quarterly update 2025 with Peace River Regional District Board Chair Leonard Hiebert. Today we'll be covering some major milestones and exciting developments across the region. Chair Hiebert, thank you for joining me again today. Let's get right into it, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
All right, so starting off with some exciting news, can you tell us about the completion of both the Regional Growth Strategy and Climate Resiliency Plan and how they'll guide regional decision making?
Both of them were completed this last quarter. We adopted the growth strategy on July 17th board meeting. Climate Resiliency Plan was accepted at the same time. Both plans were, I think, need to be mentioned, were actually developed by community members. We had input, we had from all over the region, and that's what created the growth strategy. That's what created our climate resiliency plan. Where we ended up right now is the result of all that input that we've had to date. And these are working documents ongoing. It's not something that will just be set aside, but as issues come up, they will be addressed, and these documents will be used as guidelines.
Okay. And as we're in the heart of summer, what's the current status of drought and wildfire preparedness in the region, and what should residents be doing right now to stay prepared and safe?
Well, currently we're in a drought level 2, which is not the worst. And we've been aware of getting quite a bit of moisture over the last little bit, but as we still have, we're probably in year 5 of a drought, and so it'll take us a while to get that those moisture levels back up. And so the mayors and chairs have continuous meetings once a month with BC Wildfire, ENCR, and Walrus, and they meet. Actually, today we'll be having a meeting right now. And what people can do currently is keep doing what they have been doing, is making sure their fuel is away from their home, making sure that they fire smarted. And if there's anybody out there that wants their property fire smarted, just reach out to the regional district. We have a group or 2 men that are really, really good at what they do, and they've really helped a lot of the community. And seniors, they have an additional bonuses where they can get the first couple hours free. So that'll help them get fire smarted as well.
Oh, wonderful. And the announcement of 84 senior housing beds in Fort St. John, that's significant for our region. Can you tell us more about what this means for seniors and families and the PRB's role in advocating for them?
Well, we are approached by our sons, I guess, Save Our Northern Seniors, and they were hard advocates for this. And I think just to say that the PRD did it on their own, we were the ones that had the end to the ministry to make that call, or to make that advocacy call. But the force that these guys bring to the table, I think, is the combination. And with the announcement in June saying that the 84 beds are now coming, there's a waiting list. I'm going to say close to 50 to 60 people. The beds will be amazing. The people get in there. The most important thing is the family will be close by. They're not down in Vancouver. They're not in Kamloops. They're close here. You know, a lot of them were born and raised here that are waiting to get in. And so for me, that is a big push to make sure that they have this in place. As far as when it's going to be completed and when construction's going to start, we're still waiting. They just started that process, so we're kind of in a wait and see until they get that process done.
Okay. And can you provide an update on the Site C camp situation, the main challenges the region is facing, and what potential solutions are being considered?
Site C has been getting a lot of interest from different applications, from different companies, from different proposals coming in. We have been approached by Northwinds Wellness Center to give a letter of support for the Center of Excellence, which the proposal would be that they use the facility exactly where it is. BC Hydro has a mandate to move it and take it down. And so they're in that process of seeing how they can make that change and how they can actually use it. I think it would have to be, I know it would have to be an order of council from the province to make that change. And so they're asking us for a letter of support, which we'll be addressing at the next board meeting. I think they need to get in and have that conversation with the province directly. But my understanding is the BC Hydro would have to ask for that order in council, and so I don't know exactly where that will fit. But I do know, worst case scenario, I'm hoping to avoid at all costs, is putting it into the landfill. We also know that the cost of taking a camp down, moving it, putting it back up, is going to cost millions and millions of dollars with a camp this size. So we're hoping that whatever it is, we don't end up in the landfill.
And speaking of the Northland Wellness Center, congratulations on the groundbreaking ceremony for the Northlands Wellness Center. What does the milestone mean for communities, and what can you tell us about the services and timeline towards the fall 2026 opening in Puskupi?
They're almost to the day from the blessing ceremony to the groundbreaking ceremony, so that was really, really good. The amount of different organizations that have combined together to make this a successful outcome, I don't think I've ever seen that many organizations work together to make it successful. The services it provides, all from detox all the way till training through college, making sure that, you know, when they come through the rehab, not just addiction part, but also the mental part of because there's always, you can't separate them two, they have to be together. That is very, very important. They become a member of society, a contributing member of society, which is a positive all the way along. They have less tendency to go back into what they were doing before if they're feeling a positive contribution. They're proposing that fall of 2026, but as construction goes, we don't know if it'll be that or early 27. But we're really looking forward. It's a benefit to Puskupi as they will be requiring full-time workers. You know, they still need cleaning, they still need, you know, all that stuff that has to go with that are not nurses and doctors and counselors. So I think it'll be a big economic boost for our small community.
I completely agree with that. Can you tell us about the need for community support when doctors arrive in the region, and how residents and local businesses can get involved in supporting them?
Doctors, when Northern Health hires them and brings them in, and they get here, that's kind of the end of their responsibility, and then they start work. A lot of times it's the spouse that doesn't have the connections, but we have, there's North Peace and South Peace Division of Family Practice. There's also a new one in Chetwynd that just started up, and I apologize, that name slipped my mind right now. But those are the organizations that get together to make sure the doctors, when they come in, that they get to the churches, they get to the schools, they get to the organizations, the gyms, or, you know, where do we go hiking. Those organizations bring that together to the doctors to make them kind of fit in and transition from coming in and starting a new job. What we can do as people is reach out to those organizations and say, what can I do to help? Do you need me to pick them up at the airport? Do you need me to, help them get groceries the first time around? Those kind of things is what brings them into a community, sets up that community feel. And I personally feel that that's what the doctors will then say, okay, you know what, I know we're north, I know we're remote, but I love this community.
No, that sounds perfect. What is the current status of wind farm development in the region, and how are these progressing? How are these projects progressing?
We've had a couple of presentations at the board table right now. The BCER has been given the job of permitting these wind farms, and they're right now in the process of going through these proposed legislation changes and bringing them to the different, what they call stakeholders, which is us. When we attended a Zoom meeting last, I think it was Wednesday, the 30th anyway, and I proposed that they go to the communities themselves, not just through us, but go into the community, answer the questions directly, because for me personally, when you have oil and gas, you have the delegation agreement, BCR, the frustrations that the private landowners have, is very, very important that they understand that that process is not the same for wind farm. When they say no, it's no. They can't be like the Surface Rights Board and come and say on. I've been told that twice at the meeting, and I asked it twice because I wanted to verify it. So it's going to be very, very important that they get out to the public, not just the elected officials, but out to the public and make that statement saying, once you say no, it's no. You don't have to go just like we do with the current Surface Rights Board and oil and gas. The other thing is the private land is getting really stressed. It's getting pushed to the max, and we keep adding more and more. And I know the province took out the EA portion of it, the environmental assessment portion of it, but we're still pushing that they keep that cumulative effects. I don't know how you can do it without the EA assessment, but that cumulative effects piece is going to be very crucial, because there's only so much private land that goes around. And so I asked the question at one of the delegates, and I said, why aren't you doing it on Crown land? And the comment was, well, if you can find wind on Crown land, then we'll put it there, which was a bit of a surprise to me, because I think there's a lot of Crown land that we can use, but also the biggest thing at that point would then be to make sure that we're talking with the First Nations so that the placement of those wind farms are agreed upon, not just set up and then now try and figure out the rest of it later. So that communication piece is going to be very important going forward.
Yes, absolutely. Can you briefly tell us about community-to-community meetings and what outcomes have emerged from your most recent sessions?
The community-to-community, I think, is really important in the aspect that we get to understand what First Nations are working on and how we can support what they're doing. But also that First Nations know what we're working on, and if we're working on fairly similar, that we can work in collaboration. We're not doing two different things at two different times. The biggest one is probably going to be saying this for a few years now is the wildfire. You know, that constant communication, how close is the fire to one of the First Nations? Is the fire coming to, how close is it to our residents? What are they saying and how are they doing it? It also turns into, when you're not sitting in a structured meeting, but when you have your breaks and you have your done the meeting, so to speak, that time to get to know them on a one-to-one personal level is, I think, means so much and is worth so much. I get to understand the other side other than business, and I think that to me is very, very important.
Yes, in everything. And I also understand you have great news to share about a new website launching. What can residents expect from this new platform?
Easy to understand and maneuver. Those are the two things I think that we've heard a lot over the last few years, is that they haven't been able to find what they were looking for. And I still struggle with myself, and I had a call yesterday morning and I was trying to find stuff on there, and it's a bit challenging, but plain English, not acronyms all the time. There's still probably some acronyms in there, but just getting the people to understand, this is what I'm looking for. This is the policy I want. This is the bylaw I'm looking for. Making it simple for them to understand and not fight their way through it. The biggest thing I think is the location of documents, and to find it quicker. you know, everybody's time is precious nowadays, and if they're going to be spending, you know, 5-10 minutes, which should take them 30 seconds to find, it's going to make a difference. And communicating it through the website, like we still have that engaged page, we still have, you know, that place where they can move through there, and hopefully will be a positive going forward, because transparency and communication is going to be really, really important moving forward, especially when you have different things going on and different questions. Like the questions we got last year are different than we got this year, or getting this year, and so that ease of getting that information to the people when they need it is going to be extremely important. We're hoping, I know I've said this a few times in the past, that it'll be live soon. Our target is the end of August.
All right, I look forward to that. The PRD has received recognition for financial reporting excellence for the 6th consecutive year.
Yes.
What does this achievement mean for financial transparency and management?
I think that we're good stewards of the finances, I think is what that shows. And the transparency that we're not hiding anything, we're not, you know, spending here where we say we aren't. It is clear. It is being fiscally responsible to our taxpayers. And they can come in and ask for information at any time. That transparency and that ability to come in and take and ask for that information, I think that open door policy is very important, especially when it comes to finances. I get it a lot. Those are my taxpayers, my tax dollars at work, and they're right. Like we're accountable to our taxpayers to make sure we're spending it. And I think the award that we've got for 6 years in a row goes to how we're managing, and our stewards are really good, being stewards of the financial aspect of the organization.
All right. What channels remain available for residents to provide feedback and engage with the PRD, and how can people continue to access board meetings in particular?
We still have the open door policy. That's something that I still like the face-to-face a lot better than the Zoom. I think a lot of us have got Zoomed out in the last 5 years. They can call, they can set up meetings with directors and staff as well if they have questions. The board meeting they can access online, or they can come sit in the gallery and watch it, which some do. And if they have a piece or an item on the agenda that they really want to talk to or make a note of, they still have the 2 minutes at the gallery comment section that they come in and state their concerns or their support or whatever their view is on that specific agenda item for the board meeting of that day. The biggest thing for me is still making sure that we keep that open door, that we get yelled at sometimes, but I think once you shut that off and that communication breaks down, a little bit of frustration, and sometimes just having to sit back and listen to what their frustrations are and then help us understand what they're going through, and then in turn helping us make the decisions that we need to make.
Okay. And just to clarify on that, is it 2 minutes per person, or is it just 2 minutes only in the
Per person,
Per person,
on a
okay.
15-minute slot.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that clarification. Looking back at this productive quarter and ahead to fall, what are the key priorities for the PRD, and what are you most excited about as we move into the second half of 2025?
That's a mouthful. I think as I reflect in what's going on in the last quarter was the wildfires started really early. The challenges we had with, again, starting off with proper communication, which was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, which seems to be every fire season, has really been rectified. And I think going forward, having our minister meetings at UBCM in September is something that's going to be crucial this year, is making sure that we have the ear of the ministers. It's going to be a little bit different. They're actually holding the minister meetings in the legislature this year, which is, I don't know if that's ever happened before, so we'll see how that goes. But the availability of ministers, I believe, since we're in the legislature, should be a little bit more accessible, as well as senior staff as well should be more accessible. So I'm looking forward to those as well. And looking forward, hoping that our fall is going to be a bit more of a moisture-filled fall so that we don't continue with the fires that we've been seeing in spring. And drought will still be here for a while. I don't think it'll be cured overnight. And making sure that we go into the the third quarter understanding that everybody's still working together, and the resiliency that we have of the people with the conditions we're working in is still, I still have to take my hats off to them, and they're not giving up. They're still plugging forward and making it work. So
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you very much for joining me today. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before I let you go here?
I think just thanking everybody for allowing me to to bring this information out. And if there's anything that anybody wants to talk to me about specifically, my email address, my phone number, they just can give the regional district a call. They can always come into the office and ask for, to talk to somebody that they can get answers from. Making sure that communication aspect is really, really clear. For me, I guess the things that I'm looking forward to dealing with this fall is how is BCR going to manage those legislation changes, and then the one we didn't really touch on today is the local government act reform, and that kind of, we're not going to know where that sits until after our UBCM conference this year. So those are kind of the things I'm looking forward to and seeing how we end up.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.